We are looking at a 5,000 share order.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Google Cloud Live. I'm Tilde. I help developers build with Google Cloud, and I am excited to introduce Abdel, a cloud developer advocate who's joining us today from Poland.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me. I'm Abdel. I'm a developer advocate based in Europe, and I am in the beautiful city of Krakow, Poland. And I am excited to start playing the game with you. We have some fun stuff planned today.
Yeah, and welcome to everyone joining live. We want to hear from you. Drop a note in the chat and let us know where you're joining from. So as Abdel mentioned, today we are covering a super cool text-based adventure game that you can use to learn how to build agents with Google's Agent Developer Kit. Playing a text-based adventure game feels so 1992, but in a good way. Abdel, can you tell us a little bit about what inspired you to build Garden of Forgotten Prompts?
Yeah, so we built the game with a colleague of mine called Vitze, who couldn't be with us today. And the whole point of this game was basically, as you said, like so 1990, reminded us a little bit of Zork. So we wanted to kind of rebuild something that kind of goes back to the kind of, when we started our career in the tech industry, but also to kind of like make it educational so people can actually learn in a fun way. And generally speaking, people in the software industry are also a little bit competitive. So we created the concept of leaderboard so people can actually try to optimize their score to get to the top of the leaderboard. So that was the inspiration, and then it's been fun building it and then get people to play with it actually.
Amazing. What is Zork, by the way?
It's a text-based adventure game from I believe, the 90s. So back when computers were slow. So you could basically play against a computer, and you have a character in the game, and then you can make movements like move back, forth, right, left, pick items, stuff like that. And then you have a computer kind of like being the MC, the host, telling you like, okay, you are in front of a door, you are in front of a giant, something like that. Sort of like an old version of Dragon, like Dungeons and Dragons, but like, when like I think Dungeons and Dragons is maybe a modern version of Zork.
Yeah, and Dungeons and Dragons is certainly having a moment, but that makes sense. Like I remember playing King's Quest and Space Quest when I was, growing up in the 90s as well. But since showing is better than telling, today we're not just going to show you the game, but Abdel is going to build an agent for you live on the stream using Python in our agent development kit, aka ADK. And then we'll set the agent loose to play the game and see what happens. If you want to play along and build your own agent, we'll share a link to a custom leaderboard just for folks watching the stream, and we'll drop that link in the chat. But Abdel, take us away.
Thank you. All right, so I hope you're able to see my screen. As Tilda said, the link that you're gonna get in chat will take you to this page. So now for most of you, you're not gonna see actually those red buttons and the blue button. Those are admin buttons. So I have admin access, so I can actually create events. I can look at analytics, but most of you, you're just gonna have those 4 white buttons on the top: home, workshop, leaderboard, and profile. First thing you're gonna have to do is join the leaderboard. So the game has 2 types of leaderboards. There is a monthly leaderboard, which right now we have the June one, which is basically getting renewed every month. And then there is the private events or the special events. And here we have this one that we set up specifically for the Google Cloud Live, for this live stream that we're doing right now. This particular leaderboard is available for 24 hours. So I am in the European time zone. So this leaderboard is available for me from today at 6 p.m. until tomorrow 6 p.m. But if you are based in the US, in the Pacific time, this will be 9 to 9. So basically by 9 a.m. tomorrow Pacific time, the leaderboard will disappear. And we will only have the monthly leaderboard. So you want to join the leaderboard. So that's what I'm going to do. And once you have joined the leaderboard, you can actually click on view it if you want. So here you're going to see that there is already somebody playing the game, which is kind of funny. Okay. And then one thing also you were going to notice is that it's not going to display your actual name by default. So each time you join, we give you actually a made-up name, a randomly generated name. You can see it if you go to profile, and you will be able to see your display name here, right? And then if you are on the leaderboard, which is this one here, then you will be able to see yourself highlighted in blue. So that tells you who you are, right? And so then you have the workshop guide. So step 2. If you go to the workshop guide, then basically we take you through a step-by-step guide to build the agent, to use ADK, Agent Development Kit, to build the agent to play the game on your behalf. I'm going to walk you through it in a second. So you're going to need 2 things. You're going to need a dev environment. You can use actually ADK in any programming language you want. I'm going to use Python today, but ADK is available in Java, Go, TypeScript, and C#. And it's also available in Kotlin, but the Kotlin version is still pre-GA, so it's still kind of like a beta version. So you can use any of these 6 programming languages to build the agent itself. So the language in which you build the agent is not important, but then you're going to need access to Gemini. An agent is essentially a piece of code that talks to a large language model. ADK itself is actually kind of model agnostic. So you could use any model you want. You can even use OpenAI or Claude or whatever you want. But its ADK is optimized to work with Google Cloud Gemini, right? So how would you get access to Gemini? For ADK, you have 2 options, and I'm going to show you both in a second. One of them will be to use it through Google Cloud. So you have a Google Cloud account, and then you would use Vertex AI to access the API. The second one is to use AI Studio. So with AI Studio, you have you can generate an API key, and then when you are configuring your ADK agents, you can just pass the API key to the agent. I'm going to use the Vertex AI version today, but I'm going to show you actually how to do also the AI Studio version in a second. So you can get familiarized with this kind of first step, which kind of like describe what the workshop looks like. Then you go to Setup Cloud. In the Setup Cloud part, focus on the self-service because we're not doing an in-person event. The self-service will basically have it will ask you to have a Google Cloud account with the billing account, go to the console, create a project, which I'm not gonna do today, but I'm gonna show you how it would look like. You can, for your development, you can either use your local IDE on your laptop, or you can actually use Google Cloud Shell. I'm going to use Google Cloud Shell today because it just makes it easier for me. It has all the tools installed. If you are using Google Cloud Shell, you don't need these options. So if you have no setup, is to use Google Cloud Shell. If you are using this locally, then you need to have gcloud installed, and then you have to do a gcloud auth login, gcloud auth application login, and then you have to set your project. So read through this, figure out which version you are on, and then follow those steps. Now we get to play in the game. So let's start. We're going to play the game initially manually. And that's basically when I probably have you, Tilde. I'll need your help, so you can help me out a little bit. So the game has, let me go 1 second back. The game actually has, I believe, 3 levels. You can see here there's level 1, level 0, so 4 levels, level 0, 1, 2, 3. Each level has a certain amount of score you can get, but the game is designed to be increasingly more difficult to play manually. And the whole idea of the game is that you would play level 0 manually, and then once you get to level 1, then you will switch to use an agent to play on your behalf. So let's go ahead and play 1 manually. So you click on level 1. It gives you this, like you stand on a hard earth reclamation HQ. A campus of glasses live in wood nestled in the reforest hills in the Utrecht Heuvelrug. So that's when you know the person who built it is Dutch, my colleague. From here, humanity works to reconnect the lost digital history of the 21st century integrated world. So we have to play space, and then the game will take you through the tale. So I'm going to skip through all of this, and then we get here. Now, we have actually a few things we could do. If you do, I believe, help, it gives you basically all the commands you have available. So the commands you have available is look, to look around you, inventory, to see what you have in you as in your inventory. That's loot. Examine, to examine an object. Take is to grab an object. Use is to use an object. Drop is to drop an object. Quit is to quit the game, and then help. And then you have move. So with move, you can basically move north, south, right, or left, right? So Tilde, what should we do? We're like at the beginning of the game.
Let's look.
Look, okay. So you stand on a white frame. The air is perfectly still. A glowing data portal stands to the north. A tiny corrupted pixel shakes near the floor. What are we supposed to do?
Well, let's examine the pixel.
Examine pixel. All right. So what is going to be the examine the corrupted pixel is referred to a small physical cube of raw data. The curator voice tells you the data set. Take cube. Okay, let's take the cube.
Yeah. So funny. I'm imagining the Pixel as a Pixel phone, even though I know that's not what you actually mean.
Me too. Okay, so now we have the cube in our inventory. Actually, we can type inventory if you want, and it will tell us we have a physical cube. Now we secured the asset, so now we can do things. So the game is suggestion to move north, so I think I'm gonna follow it. So move north. Sorry. Okay, a shimmering red firewall blocks the east. A simple doorway leads west. A generic debug toggle is mounted on a console nearby. What should we do?
Well, let's use the toggle.
Use toggle. Actually, the game is telling us what to do, but
It's
at some point it
firewall.
was. You flip the toggle to on, the firewall blocking the east archway dissolves. Okay, so I think we are free.
Great.
can
This
look
firewall
again.
doesn't seem very secure, I have to say.
Yeah,
but let's look around the room.
It's an old school firewall. All right, now we have apparently a way to go east, right? So I think we can move east. And it says a small white room, open archway leads south and west. Take token, take collector to proceed. You see a server node here. On the server node, you see a decrypted token, a gold coin, and a memory allocator. Oh, this is funny. Okay, so what should we? Should we take the items, I guess?
Yeah, we never know what we're going to need, so.
Okay, take token and take allocator. We can check our inventory again to see what we have. So we have the physical cube, decryption token, and memory allocator, right? And now we should figure out, what do you think we should look?
Yeah, let's see what else is around.
Okay. Small white room, archways leading east and west. So do we want to go east or west? Sorry, south or west?
South.
Okay, move south. Gateway. So a massive security gateway blocks the way. It has a glowing input port that is an open passage to the north. So we have what? An input port, and we have a gateway. So use token on gateway.
Token on the gateway. Yeah, exactly.
So let's do that. Use token on gateway. We insert the decryption into the port. The token is locked in place, and the gateway opens with a simulated chim. Okay, I think we opened the gateway. So should we keep moving?
Yeah, let's keep going.
Move north. Now,
oh, see, we were just here, right? This is where I got stuck when I was playing on my own.
Move back south, and then let's say, look, what do we have? Okay, the gateway again. Move gateway. We can actually move it because we decrypted it, right?
Oh.
Yeah. So now a simulated memory leak blocks the south before it is an allocated pool asset. The security gateway leads back east. Block. This is super funny. I think Vita is changing this all the time. So each time I'm also like surprised.
Yeah, drop the allocator. If only debugging memory leaks was this fun in real life.
Okay.
Oh my God.
that's a funny one. All right. Drop allocator. You drop the memory into the allocation pool. It solves the leak. Okay. Actually, this is funny. I am in the meeting room I'm in is called memory leak. This was not scripted, by the way. This is not prepared. All right. Sounds like we solved the memory leak. And then we have a path to the south, so we should move south, I guess, right?
South, yeah.
Okay. Fade back into the white. Resolve memory leak, lead north. The curated voice says type license. So what do we have in our inventory? I forgot. We have the physical cube. Okay. You see the field authorization badge. So take license.
Yep.
All right. Let's take the license. Okay. So we have completed level 0. so now if actually after doing this, if I go to my leaderboard and refresh, I should have 177 points, right?
Oh, but we got some people in here. Ruby Seer, Cold Caster, I see you. Well done.
Yes. I mean, I don't know who True Mind is, but whoever this person is like agenting away the game.
Someone came in with an agent ready to roll. That's amazing.
Exactly. Exactly. So just a quick thing. I forgot to tell you the other day when we were preparing. We have actually noticed that sometimes people will just use like either random non-Google tools to play the game, like Cloud Code or Hermes. so it took us a little bit of time to figure it out, but we actually have designed the scoring in such a way that you get a penalty if you don't use Google Cloud tool.
That's so funny, clever.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're going to try to play the next level, or are we just going to go straight to building an agent?
I think we can go straight to building an agent.
Yeah, people get the
It will
gist.
be more
So
fun.
let's
Yeah.
go.
So obviously in the game itself, you can play the game, you can look at the leaderboard, and then you can test the API. I'm gonna have to hide my API key so you don't see it somehow. But I'm gonna scroll through this so you don't see my API key. So the game will give you a unique API key, which is yours. That key, do not obviously commit it to, to GitHub, because that's your unique key. And that's basically the key that you will have to give the agent to play the game on your behalf, right? So the previous step, which I had to skip through so I don't show my key, is just a guide for how to play the game manually through curl. But that's not what we want to do. We want to actually build the agents. So I'm going to skip through directly into building the agents. And so here we have instructions. So if you want to build the agent, as I said, you can build it in any programming language. We have actually a Java version of ADK. You can use Python or TypeScript or Go. There is a little guide. If you click on this link here, it will take you to a full tutorial for building agentic AI with EDK, using EDK in Python. So if you want to use the Python version, just follow this. Otherwise, just go to the documentation of EDK. And then this is, for example, the EDK Java version. And then you will have here a quick start guide with all the documentation you need. So I'm going to just jump straight into my editor and start building the agent because I already know how to do it. And then we'll come back here and then kind of follow the instructions. So now you should be able to see my editor, my text editor.
We do.
You do. Okay, awesome. So let me show you how I got here. So I have my Google Cloud account. This is my project that I have created already. You see here, I have a project selected. It's called Board Abdel Lab. I can create a new one, but I'm not going to do that. But in your case, if you've never used Google Cloud, this would be one of the easiest way to build EDK agents. And then if you go here on the top right corner, you have this button called Activate Cloud Shell. So this will pop up a little window in the bottom. And it's basically a shell environment built into Google Cloud. So it has a console. It's a full Linux environment. This is a free virtual machine that we give you for free.
Oh.
Yeah, and actually there is another way you can get to the shell, which is just literally just shell.cloud.google.com. It will just fire up the same thing, right?
Oh, amazing.
And it will drop you straight into the editor. So this is basically a Visual Studio Code environment in the browser.
Wow, I'm new to cloud. I'm just learning new things all the time. I didn't know we offered this, but how useful.
Yeah, so it has 16 gigabytes of memory. I think it has 2 cores and 5 gigabytes of storage. The only thing I would recommend you is if you install thing /home, they will say anything else you install outside of this folder gets wiped. So just keep that in mind.
Makes sense.
So I'm going to use this then to build the game. I have actually created a folder here called Google Live. So I'm just going to go inside this Google Live folder. And so there is multiple ways you can build games. There are multiple ways you could write code in Python. I am just going to use my favorite Python package manager, which is called UV. I know that most people use pipe or pip, PIP. I like UV. So I'm just going to initialize a new UV project with UV in it. So this will initialize my project. And one of the things that UV does is that it gives you this project, pyproject.toml. Normally, this is where you would add your dependencies. So I could either add it there, or I could just use UV to add it. So I'm just going to do UV add Google ADK.
And UV manages virtual environments for you as well without you having to think about that, correct?
Yes.
That's
nice. One of the reasons I actually like UV. For the anecdote, if you want to know, it's actually a full rewrite in Rust. That's what makes it super fast.
Oh, and it's so blazing fast too. Awesome.
Yeah, it's very, very fast. It's compatible with pip. So if you have already a project using PIP, you could basically do UV add -r requirements.txt, and it will parse the requirements file and then add all your dependencies in UV. So now that I have my my Google ADK installed, I can basically initialize an agent. There is multiple ways you could initialize an agent in ADK, but the easiest is just to use the ADK command line. So I'm just gonna do UV run ADK create, and I'm gonna call it Garden of Forgotten Prompts Agents, right? So this will actually pop up a wizard, which will ask me a bunch of questions I have to answer. So since an agent needs access to a large language model, the first question obviously is which large language model I want to use. I'm going to stick to Gemini 2.5 Flash. You can also use 3.5. Different models might give you different experiences when you're building an agent. So just kind of test which one makes more sense for you. I'm going to just go with like the default choice, which is the Gemini 2.5 Flash. And the next question would be, how do you actually want to access this model? And this is the part I explained earlier. I can either use AI Studio, which would be aistudio.google.com. If you go to aistudio.google.com, you can create an account for free, and then you can generate an API key. And then in ADK, you just choose option number 1, and then it will ask you to input the API key. And that's basically how you give your agent access to Gemini. In my particular case, because I'm running in Google Cloud, it will be easier to just use Vertex AI. So I'm just going to go with Vertex AI. So I'm going to choose number 2. And with Vertex AI, you have to have 2 extra parameters that you have to input. One of them is the project ID, which is the ID of the project you have created. And if your project ID is already configured, the way you know it's configured is when it shows between parentheses in yellow, it will pick it up automatically. So it's already picked it up. I don't have to do anything. And then the second thing will be the region. It defaults to US Central 1. You can use any other cloud region available to you, or you could just use global. Global is also an API endpoint for Gemini. So you can just literally write global. This will initialize my agent for me, and it will give me like a boilerplate code for building a basic agent. So let me show you how that looks like. So you see here inside my folder that I have created, I have this GOFP agent. All the information I just input right now to ADK are inside the .env file. So if I made a mistake, I can go back and change them here, right? And then the way ADK knows that this is an agent is by creating an agent.py file. And that's like the entry point for the agent itself, right? So this is a very basic agent, obviously. So it has the model it will be using, a name, a description, and instruction. And Tilde, believe it or not, we actually have an agent. So if you want to know, if you want to see it live, how it works, ADK comes with a web interface for debugging for developers. So what we could do is we could actually fire up the web interface and try to talk to the agent, right?
Yeah, let's do it.
So you do a UV run ADK web, and this will basically start a web interface listening on port 8000. So you just click on it, and it will load a new page. So this will do port forward behind the scene with all the Cloud Shell, so you don't have to worry about it. And ta-da, I have an agent. I can actually switch it back to light mode, so it's easier on the eyes. Here I have, so basically, by the way, I ran ADK web. Yeah, I have to add an extra flag. I will show you. I ran ADK web from the root folder, not from inside the agent folder. So do not run ADK web from here. Run it from one folder up, because under this, I can have as many agents as I want. I fire up ADK web only once, and I can switch which agents I want to talk to.
Oh, so you could build like a multi-agent swarm in there if you wanted to.
Pretty much, yeah.
Awesome.
So there is 2 more flags that I highly recommend you add actually when you run ADK web. Let me clear my screen and then bring it back up here. One of them is -- reload agents. So this, what it will do, basically, you can keep ADK web running, and whenever you modify code and save, it will reload them. So you don't have to rerun it all the time. And then the other flag that is mandatory is -- allow origins. This is cross, it's like a cores, so cross-site scripting. Because my agent listens on localhost, but my interface or my web UI is coming from this domain, it will be easier to just do an allow origins star. I don't recommend to do this in production. So if you're going to run this in production, maybe like restrict it to very specific domains, right?
That makes sense.
Yeah. So I'm going to rerun it one more time, and I'm going to go ahead and refresh my page here. So what I see in front of me is already I see that it's picked up my agents already. So if I had multiple agents, they will all show up in this list, right? I have here, I can create new sessions since I don't have anything yet. And basically here is my chat interface. So now if I say hi, I should have, okay. So I might have not have the authentication set up. So let me try that 1 second. Yeah, gcloud auth.
That's how you know it's live.
This is how you know it's not scripted, right?
Yes.
It's very possible that it was just an authentication thing. So let me do that once in. Can we take my screen away for a second? I need to copy a key.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I don't want to show this on the live stream. Okay, good. We can bring it back up.
All right, now we're rerunning this, and it should pick up the changes. So let's try asking the agent hello again.
If I do hi, it's not working. Why? What's going on? Hold on.
Agent name must be valid Python identifiers.
Oh, I know why. Yeah, you're right. Good pickup. Typical Python stuff. The agent folder has to have an underscore, not a dash.
Oh,
Yeah.
good to know.
Yes.
Easy to fix though.
Yeah, Python is a bit picky with how you name stuff. So let's try one more time. Hi, and now it works. It's gonna work. Yeah.
Yay.
So I basically, this is, okay, so I built an agent. It's a very dummy agent. It doesn't do much, but it's an agent, right? So this actually is a response I'm getting from Gemini, by the way, right? We're going to see some more fun stuff later when we start building more stuff, as we start adding more stuff to the agent itself. But for now, we have a very basic agent, right? So let's go back to this instructions. I'm going to bring it back here for a second. So the next step that you're going to have to do is you're going to have to basically... so agents are actually useless if you don't give them tools. And what tools are for agents are basically the extra pieces and components that allows an agent to interact with the rest of the world. So it could be calling API, it could be accessing a database, it could be anything, right? So when you are building agents, generally speaking, the agent is essentially your kind of code for the agent itself, plus the large language model, plus whatever tools you give it access to. And it's tools that allow the agent to be more clever or more intelligent or more autonomous. So in this particular case, what we want to do is we want to play the game. The game has an API, which is available on this link here. So this is the OpenAI spec for the game itself. This is how the backend is built, essentially. And one of the things that ADK does, which is pretty cool, is that it actually has an open API toolset. It has a very specific tool. This is built into ADK that allows ADK to actually read an API spec, right?
Oh.
So the agent will know how to play my game by knowing how the API works behind the scene. Right?
Amazing. So any API that's using Open API, you could then feed that to your agent, and your agent knows how to use that API.
Pretty much.
Awesome.
So I'm going to copy this, and I'm going to go and type it in the agent code I have here. So now I have more code. I will walk you through it. So I basically added my, I fetch my API spec as text. This is my authentication part. So this is where I should input the game token, and I'm going to do it, which in a second off screen. But what you will have to do is you will have to add this game API key into the .env file, and then put the token for the game as a value. So my agent will pick it up from the .env file. Okay. Then here I have my Open API spec toolset. So I just fetch the Open API toolset. It takes a couple of parameters as an input. One of them is the spec itself, so the link. The second one is the schema, and then the third one, or the authentication schema, and then the credentials. So even it has library built in for doing authentication. Then this is my agent. You'll notice the code is a little bit different. This is just like a new version of ADK. It works a little bit different. I'm going to switch it to 2.5. I don't want to use 3.5. We have noticed that 3.5 a little bit can be a wild model that it doesn't follow the instructions like to the letter. So I'm defaulting to 2.5 because I know it's better at playing the game. I give it some instructions and some descriptions. So as a description, I'm saying you're an expert adventure game player. And then as an instruction, solve the requested level, right? And here is the magic part of ADK is this. So I add these tools to my agent, and then I just give it the Open API toolset, which then I pointed to the API of my game, right? So now I will need to take my screen off the air 1 second while I grab my API token. And,
authentication is the hardest problem in computer science, am I right?
Yes, of course. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that here. Give me 1 second. I need to go fetch it from somewhere. I believe it's this one, but I'm just to be sure. I'm going to.
Yeah, and while you're doing that, I'm contractually obligated to mention that Vertex API has evolved, and now the name of it is Enterprise Agent Platform. So.
Thank you so much. Yes. I was actually debating whether I should correct myself or not, but all right, we can bring back my screen share if you want. By the way, all these steps that I'm doing, they are like clearly described in the guide. So just follow the guide. You don't need to follow me. You can just follow the guide, and the guide will clearly tell you exactly what you're supposed to be doing. I'm just walking you through it so you see what's going on. Even the guide actually gives you all the explanation about each portion of the code and explains what each part does. So now that I have modified the code of my agent and I have it give it access to the API of the game plus the token, let's see if now my agent is aware that the game exists. And so what I could do is I could just say, what levels can I play in the game? And so what I should see, hopefully, is I should see that the agents have decided, yeah, okay, maybe I need to rerun it. So give me 1 second. When you, generally speaking, if you change .env, I think you need to reload the game. You need to reload the agent yourself. So what levels can I play? I'm going to copy this prompt. So if everything goes well, I should see that my agent, oh, no, it didn't pick up the tools. Why? Okay, it has all the games. Okay, good. Let's see. Yeah, it's this is my play level 1. Let's see. So this is the beauty of undeterministic systems, right? You never know what's gonna happen.
Oh, interesting.
Well,
anything in the state tab or like the debugging tools and agent development kit help us here, or?
We could try, but let me just give me 1 second. Like I think I know where this is coming from.
Okay.
We have give it the tools, blah blah blah. Okay, that should just work. Hold on. Which one I'm talking to? Yeah, that should be that one. Yeah, no, I think I know why. I think I have put the code changes in the wrong file. Yes, of course I did. Obviously, because I actually I duplicated the folder. I didn't.
Good catch.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
So the code changes are not supposed to be here. They're supposed to be in this file here. Okay, cool. And then I don't need to take my my thing off screen. I'm just gonna copy my file from here. This is .env, right? Yep. And I'm gonna copy it to the underscore one. Okay, that's good. Okay, can we just quickly take again my screen, my laptop off screen for a second?
You're just gonna copy the credentials over again.
That's the part I didn't want to do. Okay, so it's good. It's all good. Okay, we can bring this back up. It's all good. I have the token in the right file. I had the token in the right file, but the code in the wrong file.
Happens to the best of us.
Of course. All right, so let's try it one more time. Now it should work, actually. So let me go copy one of the prompts from here. All right, so let's try that one more time. You know how they say, third time is a charm. So, okay, let's see now. It should just work. Fingers crossed.
Dramatic pause.
Oh, here we go. Good.
Yay.
So,
amazing.
Actually, the agent obviously now knows that there is a tool available, right? And when you see this in ADK, this basically means a tool invocation. And so what the agents have already read the API spec, so it already knows which APIs are available. And I believe that one of the endpoints is actually list level that I can grab from here. Let me show you. So if I go look here, and there is actually an API. Yeah, there is an API endpoint called list levels, right? So what ADK did is it read all the methods available in the API, and then based on my prompt, it decided, oh, okay, so there is this thing called list levels. I'm just going to invoke the tool and then call list levels, and then it goes a response. So this is actually a function call that went toward my API endpoint for my game, and this is the response that the agent got from the API, and then it just like summarized the response for me, or summarized the output for me, right? So now what I propose to you to do is I'm gonna fire it up and let it play level 1, and let's see how. And actually, just to show you that we're not cheating, so you don't think that we're like scripting in of these things, I'm gonna show you the leaderboard, how it looks like for a second. So you see, I have 177 points, right?
We're getting our butts kicked there.
Yes.
Let's play the game with the agent. Get ahead again.
All right, so let's go play level 1. That's it. No, resolve. Solve level 1. There you go. All right, let's see.
I'm really glad you're not making me read the names of places in Europe, 'cause that would not be fun for anybody.
No, it's actually oh yeah, Vast
Okay.
Bishops. Okay, that's so funny. I think that these are not real places. I think that Vitze have probably used AI to take a spin of the names of existing places.
Makes sense. Okay, so what's going on in here? Talk to me.
So you remember, Tilda, when we were playing the game manually, we were like looking and taking stuff and examining things, right?
Yes.
What you see in front of you is the agent doing that. So it did a look, and then it took something,
Oh.
and then it took another thing, and then it used something, right? And then it's looking again. Now it's examining something, and it's examining something, and it's examining something. No, so it's actually playing the game.
Oh. So it's gonna light something on fire, maybe.
We'll see.
I guess a flare is different than a fire, but
yeah, I see some flares as well, so we'll see. Hopefully,
okay.
yeah, it have executed a move, right? And then it have used some spark lighter on unlit flare. Okay, makes sense. Like it's
That makes
too.
sense. You're trying to see in the dark. Okay, yeah.
Exactly. Then it dropped it. Then it examined something. Now it moved east. Now it took a brass control key. Okay, moved west. Examined the door. Moved north. Oh, this is so fast, actually. It goes so fast. All right, so I am going to assume that it stopped. So let's refresh my score. Ah, here, see?
Yeah.
I jumped ahead. So here's what I suggest we do. Let's just move on to solve level 2.
Yeah.
Because we played level 1 so far, right? That's the one we played. Yes. So let's solve level 2. So hopefully this actually will I don't need this. We can close this one. I need this one. I will leave it there. So and at the end of this, toward the end, I'm gonna show you a little trick if you want to actually. So by the way, just a reminder, we built an agent now. The agent is actually accessed the API of my game, kind of figured out how the API works. I give it access to the token, so it uses the API token, the game API token, to play the game on my behalf. So that's how I'm getting all the scores, because the game is using my token to authenticate toward the game, toward the game backend, and it's trying its best to find like the most optimal way to play the game. But we have actually designed the game with a scoring system that let's just see that does 2 interesting things. One of them is that it incentivizes you not to play with something that is not ADK. So if you don't play with ADK, you're gonna miss a 5% extra bonus points, right? That's one. Then the second thing is we designed it to be, let's say, rewarding curiosity.
Oh.
So what I mean by that is that when you are playing the game, or let's say when the agent is playing the game, it's trying few things, and then once it's found a solution it thinks works, it will take action on that particular solution. But we have designed it such a way that if you instruct the agent to be slightly more curious, it will give you extra points.
If you prompt it differently, then you can boost your score a little bit. That makes sense. Is that the trick you're going to show us?
You got it, yes. I'm not going to implement it, but I'm going to show you where to find the details. Because we have put it in a hidden page. Because we're actually, so we designed the game this way, but we also designed the interface to reward human curiosity. So if you click around, if you're curious and you click around, then...
Oh, no, it's stuck.
Oh. External. Oh, interesting. Okay, so let's see. It gave me some instructions. So let's see. Oh, yeah. Okay. I know what this is. This is another hidden gem that my colleague added. So visit the game, calculate the hash using the code, provide the hash on the air-gapped mainframe. I am unable to perform, therefore I can provide me with the correct hash. I can try the input into the... Okay, so I assume what we should do is take this code and maybe put it in a file and then run it. Let's see, because I was talking to Vitze and he told me he made some modifications yesterday. So I'm going to assume that this is one of them. So let's go this calculate hash.py. I'm gonna put this code there. I'm gonna fire up new terminal, and let's just run this particular file. So if I go to Google Live and I go to the agents and I do UV run calculate hash. Oh, it didn't.
Does it need to print something?
That's what I'm thinking. No, it didn't. Okay, so it just returns it. Okay, so we should probably write a main function, or maybe just
Yeah.
where is the return? If not hash start, I am sorry. Finding the correct exit name from the list of possible exits by matching the starts. Yeah, but it takes an input. Oh, okay. So how are we supposed to do this? Here is the code. Run it yourself. I'm gonna give the code to my agent and ask the agent to run it. Let's see.
I love that you can just update the game on the fly and constantly adding new things. That like really keeps it fun and fresh.
Oh, I am not able to do that. Okay. Provide.
guess
No. I think.
That, Okay.
Provide this hash to the
It's good that you can't just execute arbitrary code from the interface where you're chatting with the agent here.
So it's yes, the web UI of ADK actually runs in a sandbox, so you can just like execute arbitrary code.
That makes sense.
Calculate the hash yourself. Okay, so let's see. What was the thing? Analyze this execution. Blah 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 blah. Okay. Let's see. I think we just need to modify this function and but it takes an input. Like that's the problem. Is it takes an input? I'm not trying to figure out what that input should be. Right?
Yeah. Could we ask the agent if we should pass any input to this function? Would that make sense?
Let me do this. I'm just gonna do that here, and I'm gonna call this. And then it says possible exits list hash start. Find the correct exit name from list of possible exits by matching the start of the blah blah.
Oh, like which room you're supposed to exit?
What inputs should I give the function? Let's try that. Meanwhile, I'm just gonna try to call this here. I'm gonna print the results of this function. Obviously, it's not going to work if I run it like this because it doesn't have any what results equal print results. Okay. So if I do this, I don't think I'm gonna get. Yeah, it takes two. We need two input parameters. Thank you. While your find exit by hash function may be useful in different contexts, the immediate problem I'm facing with air gapped isn't about finding an exit. Requires specific hash to be blah blah blah. Since I cannot visit the URL and then execute, I need to provide me with the final hash value that maintains. You can find exit by hash takes a hash start as an input, which implies you already have parts of the hash and don't have the initial. So I need the actual calculated hash from the code on. Yeah, but what should be the input?
There's nothing. It's not giving us the input that we need.
Yeah, I'm actually wondering if it's not this. Hold on, it's not. What is the? Can I see the graph? How can I see the? Because there was actually something that like I believe this is the beginning of the hash actually.
Oh.
I think so. Yeah.
That looks hashy to me.
It does look hashy to me as well. So let's do that. But I need to pass it as a string. Yeah. Okay. But the other thing is supposed to be a list because it's supposed to be possible exits.
Could we ask the agent, hey, like what are the possible exits? Would it just maybe know that from its current state?
Let's see. Let's see how clever this agent is. I actually can go back to see, okay, indirect, blah, blah, blah. Where did it decide? Okay, use air gap. Based on my current look command, there are no explicitly listed directional exits. Like the room description mentions a towering air gapped mainframe, a swarm data. No, I think the possible exits is this. It's just like the air gapped mainframe. I think that's just the one.
Okay,
And
let's
so
try
I
it
should
out.
pass this as a list. I think that way. This is how it should look.
Yeah.
No, that looks not correct. How do you do lists in?
Well, that
No,
that
it's
may need to be a string inside of a list, right? Maybe.
that's what I'm thinking. Yeah.
Yeah.
What is the? Sorry.
And then we need a comma.
Okay. Let's
looks right.
let's see. None of the hashes of the exits you provided have a prefix matching the hash start you give me. Oh, interesting. So it takes a list of string and then a hash starts. If not hash starts, it says, I'm sorry you have provided. I'm sorry, none of the hashes. Okay. If not hash starts for exit name impossible, huh? Okay, I have no idea. Maybe somebody in the chat can help us if you have figured this out. Let's see if we can get some help from the.
Speaking of that, we're also going to take some audience questions. So if you have any questions for us, drop them in the chat, and then we'll take a look here in a few minutes. But I think that's okay if the agent stumped us on this new functionality that was just added. Just goes to show how smart AI has gotten. It still doesn't know everything. So
Exactly. I mean, I was not expecting that we'll finish playing the game in this live stream. It was like the goal was just to walk people through how to play the game. So here's what I suggest. Let's maybe go through more, like a couple of more extra fun things, and I can show you the scoring parts.
yes.
And then maybe we can just stop and take actions.
Cool.
Take questions, sorry.
Yeah.
Make sense?
Yeah.
All right, so this is the step that we have done already. This is essentially where you get to start the web UI after you had made notification to the agent, and then you start using the agent to play the game on your behalf. You have to, then this is where you can add more custom tools. So for example, if you think, like, for example, if I would have had more time for this particular game, what I could have done is I could add a tool that executes code. So I could, instead of like having the agent prompt me to run the code myself, I can just add a tool and say like, okay, here is a code execution tool. And then the agent itself will know that it has a tool, and it will pass the code that it needs to execute to that tool to run it for me. And then at the end you have finished, and basically you can actually, as extra stuff, what you could do is you could like deploy the agent on Google Cloud Run. So ADK has a built-in command for that, like a ADK deploy, and then it will push it to Google Cloud Run or to Gemini Enterprise Agent platform, or the agent platform. So you can choose either. Now, here is the kind of fun TDPT pieces that you might want to look at. So actually, if you go to the leaderboard page, let's see, how are we doing? Okay, we're still, second is not bad.
Shout out to TrueMind.
Yeah,
Nexus almost caught us though.
I don't know if TrueMind started playing and just quit, because I think the score have been in this value for a while now.
Huh.
Yeah, but if you scroll all the way down, you have actually this page called Scroll and Explained. So if you click on it, it actually gives you a little bit more details about how the scores work. So you have a base score, you have a time-based bonus. So if the faster you play, the more bonus you get. There is a treasure hunter bonus. So this is essentially a score that incentivize or encourage curiosity. So the more you are curious, the more you are looking around, or the more you instruct your agent to be more curious instead of just trying to find the most optimal solution, the more bonus points we give you. Of course, if you use ADK, you get a 5% multiplier. So that's essentially the incentive to basically use Google Cloud tools instead of building agents with something else. And then you have a couple of micro rewards. So for certain actions, you have some micro rewards. So micro rewards help you plus blah, blah, blah. Just getting started. You learn by performing each of the 5 fundamental. No, okay. So these are the basic ones. So when you start playing the game manually, if you do look, move, take, use, and examine, you get some micro reward. So if you play the game and you get your agent to solve all the levels up to level 3, and then you look at the score and you see that you're not maybe where you want to be in terms of the score, is not at the top of the leaderboard, then what you could do is you can go to this page called Score and Explained, and then try to take these kind of bits and pieces and use them as instructions to your agent, so that the agent can actually optimize its time to play to try to get you the maximum score. Now, there are a few things to keep in mind, and one of them is the fact that if you play the agent, if you ask the agent to resolve a level that have been resolved already, it will reset your score for that particular level.
Mm.
So your score is cumulative, but if you restart level 2, it will just, reset to 0 and then restart the play all the way until it gets you to the maximum score it can get. And so yeah, with that, I think that's all we have. Well, that's all I had, at least.
Amazing.
Yeah,
So,
remember the leaderboard is available for now until tomorrow, same time that we started, whatever time zone you're in. And yeah, feel free to play. Post it on social media if you want, maybe tag us, and I'll be looking forward to see what kind of fun, inventive things people come up with.
fantastic. So now is a good point to transition over to audience questions. Our first one comes from Avanish over on Discord, who says, I would like to understand what is the purpose of the agent platform here. Do you want to take that one?
Yeah, I mean, agent platform is our one-stop shop for building, running, deploying, securing agents. So it's a comprehensive platform that allows you to build agents actually from scratch without code. So there's a no-code platform. It's called a studio. You can just prompt and get agents built. You have a marketplace of existing agents that are built that you can just choose to deploy. You can obviously deploy the agent themselves in agents platform. Then you have an agent registry, which is sort of like an artifact registry bar for agents, where you can register agents so other people can find them using the A2A protocol, the agents to agents protocol. You have agent identity for security, so you can actually deploy agents and give them an identity so they can authenticate to each other. And also you can deploy MCP servers in there. You can build tools. You can do a lot of things. So it's just a full end-to-end platform for building, running, deploying, running, securing agents. Obviously, you can do all of this on any other runtime we have. So GKO Cloud Run, agent platform have been built specifically for agents.
Oh, wow, great answer. It's like it could do so much. It's like hard to think of one specific thing I could build.
Yeah.
So 2026 feels like a breakout year for agents. What else do you use agents for other than playing games on your behalf?
A lot of things, actually. I have a whole setup. I mean, I use agents for coding. Obviously, would be one of them, right? I have my Intergravity CLI and Intergravity Agent Manager running on my laptop that I use for coding. That would be one of them. A second one is automating a lot of my work. A lot of my social media posts are actually gone through agents. I don't really do that anymore. I just input to the agents what I want to do. So I have very specific agents with very specific skills designed to do social media. Part of my writing for my blogs is also done with agents. I have agents writing stuff for me that I review manually before I can publish. So yeah, a lot of automation of day-to-day stuff that are not fun to do. And me and the colleague, we were together last week in a conference, and we were talking about we want to build an agent that can automate, because we do DevRel, and as DevRelers we travel a lot, and so we want to build an agent that I can just say I'm going to this city from this date to this date, and book me the flights, book me the hotel, do my expense report, all that fun, non-fun administrative stuff that we have to do. So
that's funny that you say that, because I feel like the travel agent demo is a ubiquitous here's what agents can do capability, but we don't actually have that in production yet, it sounds like. So
I don't think I will trust it with everything for now, but at least the search part, searching stuff, that's that's the part that takes most time, right?
That makes sense. You put a human in the loop, the agent comes up to the agenda, and then you get to approve or deny it so that you're not on some weird flight that you don't want to be on.
Exactly.
Cool. Last question. Do you have any advice for developers who want to build agentic workflows?
Yeah, I mean, start with ADK. It's a pretty fun platform to build agents with. If you look for ADK samples on GitHub, there is a sub-repository. ADK has an org in GitHub. Sorry, and there is an ADK samples repository which has a lot of samples. So you don't have to start from scratch. You can start from something already built and explore it. And then if you go to codelabs.developers.google.com, our Codelab platform, just look for Google Codelabs. You're going to find actually a lot of Codelabs that has some multi-agentic systems that are very fun to kind of play with and test. So these would be my advices.
Thank you. Awesome. Well, we're coming to the end of the show. I just wanted to thank you again for joining us this week. There's so much pressure to build agents to be productive, and that's super important, but it's really nice to explore one that just is kind of meant to learn and bring joy. Before we go, Abdel, is there any parting thoughts you want to share with the audience?
Yeah, that's I think that's like the last thing I would leave you with is a lot of times people are just wondering what should we do with this agentic AI, and my kind of way of thinking about this is like, do not just wait to find an opportunity to do something. Just pick any random idea that you have. Like it could be building a game, it could be anything else, and just like build an agent for it. You can also like, you don't have to go through the process that I gone through to actually build the agent yourself. You could just like do it through anti-gravity. Use anti-gravity to build an agent and experiment. So I think the fun part of doing computer science is like you get to experiment and see things work, and you can see like in what half an hour we built something that's can actually play a game. So I would say like, yeah, be curious, experiment, test things, and try out ADK.
Right, and don't get caught in analysis paralysis. Just get started building something and take it from there. Also wanted to extend a huge thanks to the audience. We are so happy that you have joined us this week. If you want to play the game, our custom dashboard will be live for 24 hours. You can compete against people who've already played, and we'll drop a link in the chat. We also have AI learning labs if you're looking to get your hands dirty with the latest AI reference architectures. And these are live build-along sessions hosted by Google developer experts. Register at ailearninglab.live. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful rest of your day.